A very good evening to all. So I'll be presenting a case for macular sinkhole with intrachoroidal cavitation in case of pathological myopia. A 67-year-old female, she presented to us with complaints of decrease in vision in the right eye for about 3 months. She had low vision in the left eye for last 15 years. She underwent both eyes uncomplicated cataract surgery about 10 years back. There was no known systemic illness, and there was no related family history or drug history. On examination, the best corrected visual acuity in the right eye was 20/60 and in the left eye was 1/60. The intraocular pressures were normal. Pupils were normal in size and normally reacting. The anterior segment evaluation showed presence of posterior chamber IOL in bag in both the eyes. The posterior segment I will be discussing in subsequent photographs. So this is the fundus photograph of the right eye, which showed the presence of pathological myopia. There was this extensive peripapillary atrophy with presence of chorioretinal atrophy present at the fovea. Similarly, in the left eye, there was presence of peripapillary atrophy with an extensive chorioretinal atrophy in the left eye. Schweppes OCT was done for both the eyes. This is the Schweppes OCT which was done for the right eye. It was a 5-line scan which was passing through the fovea. Through one of the scans, we could see that there was a full thickness macular hole, and also there was presence of this hyporeflectivity in the choroid, which was suggestive of an intrachoroidal cavitation. Another scan showed presence of retinal incarcination and into this intrachoroidal cavitation, and also there was posterior bowing, suggestive of a posterior staphyloma. The other eye, it showed presence of foveal atrophy with an inactive choroidal neovascular membrane. The axial length in the right eye was 28.4 and in the left eye was 27.2. So we made a diagnosis of both eye pathological myopia with posterior staphyloma, with right eye full thickness macular hole with intrachoroidal cavitation, and left eye inactive choroidal neovascularization. Now, what is the usual pathogenesis of a hole formation? So according to International Vitreomacular Traction Study, usually the hole formation happens due to anterior-posterior vitreous traction associated with vitreomacular traction. In pathological myopia, stage 4 MTM leads to a full thickness macular hole. There is an anterior-posterior vitreous traction on the posterior pole, tangential traction on the macula from the posterior hyaloid, epiretinal membranes, ILM, and the retinal vessels, and also decreased chorioretinal adhesion from the RPE atrophy can lead to hole formation. Usually the edge of the holes are usually rounded and may contain intraretinal pseudocyst. The edges may also be thicker than the neighboring retinal tissue because of the accumulation of intraretinal fluid, and may appear slightly elevated from the RPE plane. The hole usually has an hourglass shape that can vary with orientation of the OCT scan. Vitreous may or may not be attached to the edge of the macular hole. So this is what usually a macular hole looks like. But how is our case different? So OCT clearly shows that the edges of the hole are pointing towards the sclera, proving that it is the outward force which has opened up the hole and not the anterior-posterior vitreous traction. Also, it seems that it is the centrifugal force due to the posterior staphyloma which has caused retinal incarcination and subsequently development of a full thickness macular hole. So we reviewed the literature, so we could find there was just single case report which showed presence of a full thickness macular hole with macular intrachoroidal cavitation in a patient with pathological myopia. This was a case by Ornek et al., where they showed a presence of a full thickness macular hole which was communicating anteriorly with the vitreous cavity and posteriorly with the intrachoroidal cavitation. Our case seems to be a precursor of this case where the RP is still intact at some point. So the macular ICC might facilitate the dissolution of the retinal tissue in the area where the attachment between the inner retina and the sclera is considered to be weak. This, along with posterior bowing of the sclera, might be responsible for sinking in of the retinal tissue into the space of cavitation. Cases of peripapillary sinkholes have been described earlier in literature. The term peripapillary sinkhole term was described by Feldman et al. These sinkholes are usually formed at the edge of the myopic conus. So we propose to use the term macular sinkhole for such cases. They are associated with intrachoroidal cavitation. They are seen in pathological myopia with posterior staphyloma, have associated retinal incarcination, and we believe that because there is no component of anterior-posterior vitreous traction, these cases might have a limited surgical success with pars plana vitrectomy. Thank you.